G'day guys, Chronicles of Solid here. Just thought I'd upload another video. I'm in Mount Lawley at the moment, stalking a scooter. Not the most dignified of transport if you ask me, but hey, whatever floats your boat. They're cheap to run. So I thought I'd talk about sorry, get my pants adjusted. I thought I'd talk about the risk of riding a motorcycle, or a scooter for that matter, because I'm sure if you ride a motorcycle or you know a motorcyclist well, there is always that one person that has to get up on their high horse and give you a lecture about how irresponsible you are to you and your family for riding one. So yeah, obviously riding a motorcycle is a balancing act of risk and reward. And some people can't reconcile the risk that it takes. I'll just try and squeeze my giant motorcycle down this tiny gap. There's one crap thing about this BMW is you can't squeeze. Champion. Better get a move on. Anyway, as I was saying, some people criticize motorcycles for the risk you have to take, and the inherent danger in riding a motorcycle. And kind of to talk about that further, risk is a big factor in society anyway. I mean, to get a bit technical, since the Industrial Revolution, the dawn of capitalism and free market and what have you, and certainly the biggest factor is the concept of insurance came about. Risk has been a defining mode of how we make sense of the world that we take part in. I mean, from the tiniest little thing, from whether to sleep in the morning or not, that's a risk you take. You know, you might be late for work, or you might miss the bus or whatever, all the way to bigger risks like riding a motorcycle. Nice gigster. No nod from the cafe racer bloke. Too busy trying to look pretty. Anyway, so risk is a big part of our world, and it can be quite scary. There are a lot of things to take into account. We spend our lives trying to avoid a lot of risks, but as a lot of people might agree, or you might disagree, some of the most rewarding things in life when you learn to manage a risk that might, say motorcycling is a good example for me. You learn to manage the risk of riding a motorcycle or it might be some other I don't know what else is riskier, mountain biking, surfing, skydiving. These are all things that are risky, but with the increase in skill and safety equipment and your ability, you learn to manage those risks. There was a molten over up here before. Yeah, I can see the X-Trail. There it is, speed camera. Should probably slow down. So yeah, riding a motorcycle is managing that risk, and it is very rewarding to be able to ride the bike and manage the risk of riding the bike. Now, when I was on the Super Sport before I had the accident, my sense of how much risk I was putting myself in was a lot lower than it is today. I thought I was a lot more invincible than I was. I certainly didn't think I had every base covered and that I was completely bulletproof, but I did think that my skill level, I had an overinflated sense of my ability, I guess. Even though the accident wasn't my fault and I couldn't really do anything about it, even if I had the reaction skills of a fighter pilot, it changed my perception of how much risk I was putting myself in, and that led me to the change in the style of motorcycle that I would ride and how I would ride and where. Now, on the road, I spend most of my time on this, the BMW F700 GS, and I got it because I wanted to reduce the risks that I was putting myself through. Now, some people who have had accidents that I know have given up motorcycling completely, and I understand that. Yeah, you won't get any judgment from me for hanging up your riding boots after an accident, but I really wanted to continue, and for me to be able to do that, I really needed to reduce the risks for myself, but also I needed to it wasn't just me that was in the consideration. I also have a wife, so I owe it to her to be safer and to try and mitigate as many risk factors as I can. So a bike like this with ABS and traction control, a high seat position so I can see everything, it really helps with that. Also, not having crazy power like a Super Sport does kind of it reduces the temptation to do stupid speeds, I suppose, and the size of the bike makes it very difficult to lane filter or split between traffic at very quick speeds, so I have to think quite a lot before I make a move on this motorbike. So it was a conscious decision to try and slow myself down, because I know what I'm like. I get a bit of the red mist, you know, the red flag of the bull. I'm a bit competitive like that, so I tend to get myself into silly situations. And the other factor with riding in the dirt and the Yamaha was that, especially after the accident, I mean, I was aware of it a long time before I got hit, and you certainly shouldn't be on the road without knowing that every other person on the road is a giant idiot. And just like you're a giant idiot to the other person on the road, you're unpredictable. It's very hard to know what another person's going to do. And riding in the dirt and the kind of the adventure touring, it removes you from the urban environment, where the chance of you running into more idiots is a lot higher. Even though, as you can see today, I'm in the middle of the city and there's traffic all around. But I think that has been a really important factor for me with the off-road riding, is I've been able to maintain the kind of sense of challenge and accomplishment that I got from riding the super sport, you know, quickly through traffic or going to a track day, and which I consider a little more risky just because of the speeds. I've been able to get that same sense of achievement by riding off-road. So it's been really important to me to have that. And I guess that's a little bit of why I wanted to do the YouTube channels, just to kind of share that you can enjoy motorcycling without having to ride a crotch rocket and have the fastest bike with 8,000 horsepower and, you know, brakes that could stop the moon's orbit. So that's basically what I had to talk about. I'm sure as life goes on, your perception of risk is always changing, so you'll forever be evaluating as a motorcyclist what kind of motorcycle to ride, how to ride, what's safe, what's unsafe. So it's an evolving thing. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, as a motorcyclist, you do get the judgmental crowds who judge a person on their bike, on their riding style, on their choice, and to be a little more mindful that they might have a little more going on in their life, or they might see risk differently. Just because they take less risk or more risk doesn't mean they're wrong. Get off your mobile phone, you muppet. Anyway, it doesn't mean they're wrong, it just means they've made a different choice. And I think as long as you don't put anyone else at risk, do what you want, I don't give a shit. Just as long as you don't put me at risk. Sorry, just wipe off some speed. There's a speed camera just here. So I'm almost at the end of my ride, so I'm about to tune out. Yeah, if you want to, let me know what you think about risk-taking and motorcycling as a risk-taking venture. You know, let me know your thoughts if you want to. And as always, thanks for watching my video and for all the support, guys. I think my first video is something like 700 views, which I know in YouTube kind of levels isn't very high, but as a personal goal, that's well beyond what I thought I would reach, so thank you very much for that. As always, I've been Chronicles of Solid. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully.